Welcome to Built to Work, the podcast that gets its hands dirty, dives into the grit, and uncovers the heart of what makes the blue-collar world tick. I'm Colin, your host, and I'm sitting down with the people who keep our world running. From those tackling the tough jobs no one else dares to do, to the HR professionals working overtime to find the labor force we desperately need. Whether you're in the trenches or behind the scenes, this podcast is for anyone who values hard work, determination, and stories that build the backbone of our workforce. So grab your gloves, your coffee, or your clipboard. It's time to get to work. Good morning. Today I am here with Nicole Eshnaur of MarksNelson. Nicole, thank you so much for sitting down with me to chat.
Thank you for having me.
So Nicole is with MarksNelson. They're an accounting firm. They're actually who we utilize for all of our accounting services and our back office stuff. So I thought it'd be really great to have a conversation with you to talk about your product, your offerings, the successes that you've seen, and all that. So you're a partner here at MarksNelson. So could I just get a quick rundown of what you do here in your role?
Sure. So I lead our Client Accounting and Advisory Services Department. And what that means is that we help our clients with a range of accounting areas. So that may be helping with their AP, that may be helping with their invoicing on a monthly basis, reconciling, and then the delivery of the financial statements.
Okay.
And then we also help with some of the compliance as well, from sales and use tax, payroll tax, business licenses, and the like.
Mm-hmm. All that stuff that nobody really wants to deal with. It's kind of nasty. Yes.
Yes, those notices that arrive in the mail that you were not expecting, those are what we help with.
And you're like, what in the world do I do with this?
Yes.
So MarksNelson, funny enough, my mother-in-law used to be a partner here too, and it's kind of, we just came back around to MarksNelson. It wasn't really like this intentional thing. So it's funny that we're back here working with you guys after that experience. She's retired now. So you guys provide this service. You obviously provide a range of other services other than what you do for us. So what you do for us used to be called entrepreneurial services, and
Correct.
now you call it business services, kind of back office services, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that is essentially outsourced accounting, correct?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. So if I come to you and I say, hey, I want to do some outsourced accounting, what are you going to tell us that'll include, or tell us about the benefits of why you would utilize that service?
Sure. So some of our first questions is to find out who you have on premise or in office to do maybe some of the day-to-day work that comes in. And so that helps to just define where do we fill in the gaps.
Okay.
And sometimes you have a really good accounts payable clerk who is handling all of the bill pay. And then we can come in, kind of layer on top and maybe supervise, answer questions, provide a resource, and then do what we call close out the month and make that information, those financial statements in a deliverable format that you can make decisions off of. So that's kind of our first question is, who do you have? And sometimes we get the response of, we don't have anybody. Mm-hmm. And that's where we get really excited, because we can offer those different levels, those different areas, and provide all of that assistance in that back office for you.
Okay, gotcha. So you guys handle all of our back office. When we acquired our current company, we said, hey, they've outsourced their accounting before. They had a different CPA. And they were kind of hodgepodging some of it like in-house as well. But we said, hey, we really want to go with some professionals. We want our books to be right. In our previous company, we had learned that if we didn't outsource accounting, it was going to hurt us. And it's funny, I actually had a conversation with the CEO of that company the other day, along with this podcast as well, because they were so instrumental in that last company. And I think one of the things that we took was how beneficial outsourcing our non-core competencies could be to our business growth. I know it's been great having your team on board. So thank you so much for that. When you're onboarding clients, you see, okay, what they need, what they don't need. Do you ever get to the point where people are coming to you and they're saying, hey, we're thinking about just getting rid of our whole department and going to you guys? Have you ever had that situation arise?
We have. Sometimes it's by choice, and sometimes it's not by choice.
Okay.
Sometimes it's that resignation letter shows up on somebody's desk and the owner calls and says, I really need you. Now I have a void, and we fill that void, and they find out that we are able to do it very seamlessly.
Yes.
And then they don't have to worry about the turnover. They don't have to worry about the resignation letter on their desk just out of the blue with no warning. We take care of all of that cross training. We take care of vacations. We take care of the sick time. So that's where I think the owners that we work with really find the benefit in working with the outsourced accounting.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you guys bill kind of based upon volume of transactions and everything like that. So I can wrap my mind around that. It's basically how much of your time or your team's time that we're going to use. One thing that I love about this model is the scalability, right? So I can come to you now and you guys can handle all of our capacity. If our company got cut in half, you could still handle that.
Yes.
But if we doubled or tripled, you could still handle that as well, correct? So when a company scales like that, let's say our revenue doubles or triples, how do you guys address that internally so that the customer has a seamless experience?
Sure. We are on the constant evaluation of automation. So if there are, which I think sometimes is what's missed internally, is that you can get staff, you can get team members that just, or it's very routine, it's what they always do, and they just keep doing it. We're constantly looking for the way of, is there a technology that can help make this better? Can they take on some of it so that we don't have to add another person? But again, we're always still evaluating that capacity issue as well. So if it is that it's just, it needs physical labor hours, then we're going to keep hiring and building up capacity and the resources internally too.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I've noticed and experienced with you guys, and it's been pretty cool, is there was a turnover in somebody, right? That's inevitable, and we sent an email, and it was like, nope, he's not here. This is your new person, and there wasn't a beat missed, right? It just everything kept going. I was like, this is great.
Yep.
This is exactly what we want. Just being able to backfill and have that scale, or even if there's a big seasonal push, you can always bring in more team members, correct? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and that's what is really nice, and that's why I say we really pride ourselves on cross training, because again, I don't want any of our team members to feel like they can't take vacation or that you're going to have delayed financial statements because someone wants to take 2 weeks off, to go do something. So it's really important that we always have our bases covered. That comes from solid policies and procedures that we have documented so that the next person can just step right in, cover that, take care of it, and that's the goal, is that then you don't see a break in any kind of service.
Don't notice that at all, yeah. Previously, when we had one person handling it at my last company, if she wanted to go on vacation, then it was very much a scramble of how do we backfill that. And since you guys handle that, if our main point of contact went on vacation, she would just say, we'll talk to this person in the meantime, and things would keep rolling. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about outsourcing these things that aren't within your skill of expertise, your area of expertise, is you outsource that, and they've got the team. It's what they do well, so you don't miss a beat when those sort of things arise, and you're not beholden to, oh no, my HR person's on vacation, or I'm sitting there with that 2-week notice, that resignation letter on my desk, or whatever it is, a retirement, and you're just like, I could be stuck.
Yes.
I think I'd be terrified if I had an accountant in my company for 20 years and they were my internal person and they retired. I would be like, what do we do now? And they've created all these custom processes. When we come to you guys, and everything's done the way it should be. Everything's up to compliance, and we just don't have to worry.
Yep.
It's just a headache off of ours. So.
And then you bring up a very good point, because especially if we're doing the invoicing and we're seeing more of that detail, and we can start to bring the questions to the surface of this looks like this might be a taxable service that you're offering. Can we talk through that in more detail? So again, you don't get hit with that audit a year or two down the road and say, I had no idea that I was doing this wrong. We very much try to be proactive and advisory in that to keep you out of that auditor's seat.
Yes, absolutely. I've seen it within my own organization previously, and then within other organizations that I've been a part of, where the person that gets pushed up to the role of managing the books maybe isn't trained to do that, right? They're doing it because they learned how, they kind of figured it out, but there's maybe some stuff that's being missed. and you get those exposures. I'm sure you've seen that. You've come in and there's years of unfiled taxes or some little niche thing that nobody knows about, right?
Yes.
You can undo that. So.
Yeah, and we can really capitalize on the strengths of our team members as well. So we're going to have different levels that are going to help on that whole outsourced team. So maybe there's someone on our team who is really experienced in budgeting. So when you're ready for that budgeting process, that person can sit down with you, they can work through that budget, and you're going to have something very good to set up for the next year. You're going to have the person who's really versed in AP, and they're going to run through all of that and have that all covered for you. So instead of having to have 4 or 5 people hired on your team with all of these different expertises, you can just have one of it, the team that's just bundled together for you.
Yeah, absolutely. From a business owner standpoint, one thing that I've really appreciated about it is that you guys also have the internal tax team. So I don't have to go to somebody else for my taxes. It's internal, and it's like, okay, corporate financials are done. Here's all your tax documents that you need. Collect whatever donation receipts or whatever you have, send it over to the internal tax team, and then they'll talk.
Yes.
And then, hey, here's your taxes, here's how much you owe, refunds, whatever that is. That's been really nice and seamless for me as well. So,
good, I'm glad to hear that. And we also strive throughout the year to kind of watch if there's significant fluctuations in your income, good and bad, to communicate that over to the tax team. So again, you're not hitting with these big tax surprises in April. You're warned about it. You can maybe mitigate, or you can do some planning that will help you.
Yes, we've had those bad tax surprises. Recently, once we redid our 21, 22, or whichever ones for the employer tax credit, we had some adjustments there, and so we had some big tax bills due. It's like, I did not see that one coming.
But it also, again, if we're helping and we're in that capacity, we're that outsourced, your internal accounting team may not always be abreast of changes in the law. So for example, when the employer retention credit came about, a lot of internal teams didn't know what it was. We're all over that. We're doing the research, and then we're able to reach out and say, hey, this is a credit that you apply for. Here's how it works, and here's the consequences should you choose to take it or not take it. And that, I think, is really beneficial too.
Yeah, we were very appreciative when all the funds came in. But then once the tax consequences came, we're like, still appreciative, just was not expecting that. So I would love to hear, if you could share, you don't have to use names or anything, but I would love to hear about some of your success stories that you've had where you've been able to come in and your specialized outsourced partner, and how you've been able to help some of your customers. If you could share one.
Yeah, sure. So I have a really fun story that a client that I was introduced to, it was probably 2019, and we get in, and a financial statement tells a very good story of a business, surprisingly. And at just first glance, you can look at it and you can see debits that are credits, and you can see asset accounts that are over on the P&L, and you see a P&L that's 8 pages long, and you know right out of the gate that they have not received solid accounting advice. And so you sit down and you talk through, and you really just listen. And that's what we did. And we came in and we really explained out of the gate, here are ways that we can help you. We can close your books in 20 days. We can give you a financial statement that you barely have to turn the page for. We can help get you out of the red and into the black. And they went through a few different changes internally, even still. They kind of, different people did, good things. They were able to let some people go. That's not the goal. I will tell you, that's not the reason for outsourcing or your accounting. We always try to repurpose. We always try to find, again, where the strength of those individuals were. But because they moved so much to us and they streamlined what they were doing internally, you didn't need the accounting staff that you had before. So I think when we started, they might have had 5 or 6 internal people. They now have 3.
Okay.
And they were not compliant on their sales tax returns. They were not compliant on some of their property tax returns. And each step of the way, we talked them through each one of those things. We helped them get PPP, and then subsequently file for the forgiveness of the PPP. Same thing with the retention credits. We helped them with that. And we got to where we have monthly financials. We provide comments on those financials every month. The owner was actually using an outsourced CFO, and she came to me and said, you are providing me everything that CFO is telling me. And so she let she kind of disengaged from her CFO
Oh, wow.
assistance, and now brought us in to do the budgeting for 2025, as well as do the financials, and now is looking at potential succession, of which we're going to come in and help advise her and figure out a succession plan for her as well. So that has been a fantastic relationship. It's been so fun to watch the evolution. She came into the black in 2024, so
Great.
now she's dealing with, I have to pay taxes at April 15th, which is a whole different kind of feeling, but it's been really fun to watch that journey with her.
That's great. It's always great when you can share a success story, when somebody's able to come in and utilize your services, and it just absolutely changes the game for them.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
So what are some of the most complex challenges that you guys face with your service that you offer? Like when people come to you, they've got problems, obviously, but what are some of the more complex ones that you guys face?
Some of the more complex ones are going to be when you evaluate that accounting system that they're using and you know it's not right, whether it's because it's just really far gone and they're going to have to make a significant change, or the fact that they've outgrown the system that they're using and now you're advising on that next level. That's a big lift. It's a big lift for anybody that they have on their own team. It's a big lift for us. You know that it's going to be a timely project. And so those are a little more challenging to then try to convince the owner or even an accounting team that they currently have the reasons and the benefits for why they need to do that, and then walk them through that whole process start to finish.
Yeah, I can imagine having to handle all that. I mean, all just the transfer and everything. We've done that before with property management software. You had to switch from one to the other, and one was antiquated, and it's not fun. So yeah, I can understand how that's huge.
It's great when they get on the other side of it.
Yes,
it's getting there that can be kind of painful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know that you guys and our CFO, he was new when we got on, his fractional CFO, outsourced as well. That when you guys sat down, and he actually introduced us to you guys. When we all sat down and we looked at the books once we acquired this Premier, it was kind of like, okay, the books are good, but there's a lot of things that we can clean up. And then your team went in and we acquired the company just at the tail end of 23, but you guys pretty much redid all of 23's books so that it made more sense for them when we had to file taxes and everything like that. And then we were able to roll into 24 with what we'll call clean books.
Yes. And
then 24 now into 25 has been seamless for us, which has been really nice to see. And we haven't had to worry about categories. I think some of the weirdest things, if you get into the real accounting and into the QuickBooks, you have all the different categories. And I think they put each different category as a different customer possibly. So it was hundreds of categories, and it didn't make any sense. And now it's service line categories and then corporate, and it's this makes much more sense, much easier to track.
Yes.
So,
and that's always the goal. And that's another thing that we always try to sit down and talk to with each client, because yes, a balance sheet and a P&L are going to be your standard financials, but that doesn't always tell an owner what they need or want to know. Sometimes it's, I want to see trailing 12 months because that's more important to me, or I want to see a cash flow statement. And so really sitting down and understanding the report that they want to see and the information. And then sometimes it's just an education, because maybe that owner is just new to business ownership, and really saying, here's what this is telling you. And that's kind of fun too. I have a small little part of me that always wanted to be a teacher, so I get that little bit when I get to sit down and educate a client on what the numbers are telling them.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fun. Yeah, I enjoy getting to teach as well. So. All right, so hopefully we're getting to talk to some business owners here, some people in business. You got one small piece of business advice from what you see on the tax side, right? Your area of expertise. What are you going to tell somebody? I guess it doesn't have to be tax, it could be accounting. What one nugget of advice would you give besides hire MarksNelson?
Yes, always think MarksNelson first. My motto is that there's always a better way, and so my advice is to continually evaluate the processes that you are currently using, because 9 times out of 10 there's a better way to do them.
Yes.
And it's important to talk to your peers, talk to your colleagues, talk to your accountant, and find when that is, because there's going to be dollar savings behind it.
Yeah, and as business owners, I think we always love it when there's dollars savings involved. So yeah, looking for a better way, never stop improving. That is how everybody should be looking at business. And it's frustrating to me when we'll have teammates and they don't want to do anything to change. This is just the way we've always done it. And it's now I understand But just because it's the way we've always done it doesn't mean that it's the right or the best way to do it.
Yep.
When you come in and rock the boat, people don't like that, and it does. Sometimes it shakes people loose, and people just can't handle that change. So I love that you guys are thinking that same way.
Yes.
So it's going to help us all get better and grow as we as time progresses.
Yes.
So
well, and let you grow without always having to add headcount.
yes,
And that's really important too.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I know everybody's working on leaning into AI and how that can help reduce headcount and automate some stuff. And we're in a very manual field, so our back office is very small. I'm sure that you guys might be able to get some benefits from AI. Have you guys looked down the road at what that looks like for you guys?
Yeah, we have kind of a continuous eye on it. Obviously, our technology team is always on us to be careful. We kind of always get that extra. It can do some very powerful things, and I think the other piece to always keep in mind is that it's not always 100% right, and that it's walking that line to make sure that your client that maybe is out there plugging in all of their stuff and saying, okay, tell me what I should do now, that AI might not give you the right answer. So it's still important to have those conversations and to talk through it. It can answer some of the easy questions. We really are focusing on it for transactional work. So you talk about the scalability, having that AI plug the transactions in just to get them into the general ledger.
Okay.
But you need the human interaction to evaluate what that is telling you, and then to have the conversation with the business owner to really say, okay, because of what this is telling me, now what?
Yes.
How do I plan out of this?
Yeah, the critical thinking aspect,
Yes.
but the bulk data entry and transaction categorization, that can be done.
Yep.
Or is getting better at getting done by AI.
Yes.
It's never going to be 100%. It's still going to have some
Yeah.
misses, right? Yeah. I think is QuickBooks starting to roll out some of their own internal into their system?
They do have some of that to where, it's trying to read the transactions that are fed into it from the bank feed, and it's going to make suggestions. And sometimes those are great, and they work really well. And yes, it can speed up what you're doing. And sometimes they are just way out of left field that you're thinking, I don't know where you got this, but it is helpful, and it does allow you to just move that kind of work that isn't always it's not the most valuable work that you're getting from your accountant. And so that's why let's let the technology take care of that piece.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess one last question for you is, you're a big proponent of your services, which are great, and outsourcing. What advice or words of wisdom would you give for somebody that's looking to outsource any portion of their business?
It's really important to evaluate the firm or the individuals that you're talking to understand what their skill set, what their resources, what their capabilities are. Because I think sometimes, as with anything, you can get sold a bill of goods that isn't going to deliver on what you really think that you're getting. I think it's also very important to talk to any internal team members that you have and explain to them why you're looking at this option, because that's where you can get a lot of that resistance is internally, because they are afraid of being let go, and knowing that they can do something that's maybe more enjoyable to them or is more passionate, and that's what's really important, is to say that this is not a move because we want to replace you. This is a move because we want to enhance what you're currently getting to do, and that's an important message.
I love it. It's an enhancement of what you're getting ready to do. I guess one more follow-up on that. When you've been brought in, have you been able to run any sort of cost-benefit analysis for your customers? Like, hey, we cost this much, but you were able to save some headcount and we saved you taxes or something like that. Have you guys ever gone through that process to say, hey, I know at first there might have been like a sticker shock, but look at how much it saved on the back end. Have you guys ever gone through that process?
I will tell you, we have not honestly put pen to paper to do that. The conversations really have stemmed from what I had mentioned earlier about, okay, the services that we're providing right now is really saving you an AP clerk, it's saving you a controller, and it's saving you a CFO, and we're packaging that. And yes, you're paying, $5,000 a month, whatever the number is, but you're not paying that salary times 3, and you're not paying benefits on top of it, and you're not, and so that's where but as specifically for one particular client, I'm not put pen to paper.
No, okay, yeah. We haven't been able to get that from our customers as well, so I was curious if you had, but I would say it's more anecdotally, like, hey, we couldn't have done this without you, or hey, it might be more upfront, but we're getting so much more productivity out of, your employees or your team that then our productivity has gone up and we're making more money. Which at the end of the day is the goal for all the businesses.
Well, and it is kind of interesting in some of we do step in and we will do staff augmentation situations as well. So we have one of those right now where last year at this time we were on client site. We were helping them because they had lost an individual. We caught them, they had months behind in financials of which the owner didn't know until that person left. Cleaned it all up, got them all current, even helped them hire somebody into the position. And we just got the call this week to say that person has submitted resignation and now they want us to come back out. So sometimes they do they reciprocate back through. But you look at that and sometimes you can step into those situations and you try to figure out the person who left what they were doing for 40 hours in a week, because we're able to come in one day and accomplish the majority of what that individual was doing. So to your point of productivity, sometimes you will find that in some of these situations.
Yeah, absolutely. We find that too when we come in, when people have been gone, right? Or they call us and they're like, hey, our guys just weren't getting it done. And then they bring our guys in. It's like, your guys are doing the work of 2 or 3 of what our previous guys were. And a lot of times it's in the type of positions that our guys get brought in, and it's the heavy labor, it's industrial labor, it's dirty, it's hot, it's cold, nobody really wants to do it. So it's a high turnover position most of the time. We tend to find the right people for the job in our team then we don't have those turnover problems. And it's like, well, we're getting so much productivity out of them, why would we go try to hire somebody else? Which is the goal.
Yeah, and when you reward those employees and you incentivize them, then they keep working hard, and that's it's a win-win on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. You guys have a lovely office here, and you have a great service. So if anybody has any questions about how awesome MarksNelson is, reach out to me. I'll put you in touch. So
thank you so much.
Thank you.